Hello, and welcome to this second lecture of determining design requirements in this course on winning prototype development. I'm Arun Singhal, your management coach and mentor with 40 years of experience in people development. So, in this section, we've been trying to give you a good understanding of how to determine design requirements after having determined the CTQs for your prototype development to help you build your business. And we had the first lecture where we gave you an overview of how to determine the design requirements in overall level. And in this lecture, in the part one, we will take you through the detailed steps of the 6 rooms. We will revisit each of these rooms of the house of quality and tell you how to populate those and determine ultimately the design requirements for that particular product. So, how do you think we can develop these design requirements? The final output is on the right hand side. We know the customer requirements on the top, and we need to figure out the design requirements ranked or in order of the priority with the quality matrices and cost targets. And as we were saying in the overview, we will use the house of quality process as displayed to you in the left part of the slide, and in which we saw there are 6 rooms, and we will need to populate each of the rooms and figure out at the end the design requirements ranked as per priority. So, how do you think we can do that? Any thoughts? Okay. So we start with populating the left-hand room of customer requirements, and we have that data already from our CTQs, right? So we populate that data in CTQ. The additional thing that you need to put there is the importance, and the importance you can figure out either by asking the customers or by other measures like how many people responded in that focus group on the similar number of post-it notes could be one indication. So, because more the people are talking about a particular CDQ, more important it is in general for the population. So, we populate that in the same order. So, you see here the populated things in the same buckets of clean water, you find 4 or 5 customer requirements in order of the importance ranking, right? Once we have that, what we do is then need to populate the top room, the first floor room, if we were to say that, in which we are going to put the design requirements for meeting these customer requirements. And how do you do that? Is you again sit in a CFT and you brainstorm and say, okay, if what are the factors on which the no bacteria or virus is present, and then you brainstorm and then you start unfolding the various design parameters that starts coming forward, and that you start noting down in a piece of paper and ultimately populate in this. So this is how you generate the design requirements. The arrow of the each of the design requirements indicate the direction of improvement. So which basically say if the if you improve the that design requirement, your customer requirements will be met better. So that's how you determine the design requirements. In the first phase, you populate the first floor room, and that is in the green there, right? Once you have the design requirements specified, then what we need to do is we need to mention the relationship. We need to develop the relationship matrix, which basically is that between each of the customer requirements or CDQs and the design requirements, we need to put a figure between 1, 3, and 9, plus and minus, which indicates the level of correlation. How much of the customer improvement will improve with 1 unit improvement in the design requirement. The 9 is the maximum, 3 is middle, and 1 is minimal. And it could be plus or minus. If there's a negative correlation, we will put the negative scores. If they're positive, we will use the plain figures. And the cells in which you don't see any numbers, that means there is no real correlation. These are uncorrelated parameters in terms of customer requirement and the design requirement. Right? You get that idea? Once we have the middle room populated with the design relationship metrics, we go to the right hand side and we put the comparative ratings, in which what we do is on each of the custom requirements, we take our key comparators that you see here is comparator 1 and 2 and 3, and put based on the customer rating of their products on a scale of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being highest, 1 being lowest. And that's why you determine what are the competitive products, where do they stand today in the minds of the consumer based on their ratings there. So that's how we do that there. The next thing that we do is we go to the roof and populate the correlation between the DRs. So we have these DRs, design requirements, and we put a tick if there is a positive correlation, and we put a cross if there's a negative correlation. Take the example of negative correlation here. There's a negative correlation apparently between the residence contact time and the no metallic leaching. So if you improve the metallic leaching, the resident contact time will reduce. Where rest of the parameters of design are positively correlated. So we put that together. And how do we use that? We will see later on as we go along in the course. So having done these 4 rooms population, we have more rooms to do that, and we will take that forward and also see how does this population helps in producing the output that you see on your slide on the right hand side, and we will talk about that in the part 2 of in the next lecture. So thank you so much for watching this second lecture of determining design requirements. I hope you are continuing to learn something new, you are enjoying, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next lecture.